Yuval, as we're trying to discern the difference between what's truth and what is a story, you've talked about just how we can see that suffering is undeniably real on
Hmm.
a certain level, and
Yes.
that's the first truth of the Four Noble Truths of Buddhism. What is your take on the other three of the Noble Truths, that craving is the cause of suffering, that there is a cessation, there's a way to completely transcend uh, our mental experience of suffering, and that following this eightfold path of uh, harmlessness of body, speech, and mind, of training the mind in right view and right understanding, that there's reality in these as well.
My understanding is this is not a credo. This is not something that you kind of, I believe that there is suffering, I believe that suffering has a cause. No, it's about actually practicing it, witnessing it. And it starts with the first noble truth that, most practitioners, including myself, we try to find a shortcut around it. And it's very common in my practice, in practice of friends I talk with, that you sit for meditation and you think, oh, this is not a good meditation. I'm not focused. My mind is all over the place. Or there is some very strong pain in my back, and I just can't accept it. I'm resisting the pain. This is not a good meditation. And actually, this is potentially the best meditation in the world, because you are in the presence of the first noble truth, that you now are witnessing suffering. And you witness the little suffering of an agitated mind. You witness the little suffering of a mind reacting to pain with rejection. And if I can only be with that and witness the first noble truth, oh, this is suffering, then this is liberation.
Mm.
And it's the same with the other three noble truths, like craving is the arising of suffering. This is something that I sometimes witness directly. Like I sit for meditation, everything is okay. And after, say, 40 minutes or 50 minutes, suddenly a thought arises in the mind, oh, it's probably almost over.
Mm.
And when it's over, I'll be able to go and eat or call my friend or do this or do that. And then it becomes a little bit of misery because it's still not over, but my mind is already rolling in this, oh, it's almost over, it will soon be over, and I can do this. And the moment that craving arises, misery arises. So then it's not some kind of theory that I'm a good Buddhist because I believe that craving is the source of suffering. But I can actually witness that how the arising of craving is simultaneously with it. Suffering also arises.
So that's a very, practical and moment to moment and practicable sort of vision of meditation in this path. And it's interesting because in 21 Lessons for the 21st Century, you end the whole book with the chapter called Meditation, Just Observe. And for such an expansive book to end on, such a practical and a practical note, uh, was interesting and surprising and heartening to me all at the same time. And you talked about how you were excited to have a interview that wasn't just about AI, but I am curious. You've talked about hackable humans and the importance of meditation in humanity encountering this new era. So why is meditation important right now? Why did you end that whole book on that note? And has your view on the importance and relevance of that chapter or your optimism changed in the last 7 years since you wrote it?
So I think meditation only became more important for me because of the AI revolution. For me, the biggest question about AI is whether AI has consciousness, whether it has the capacity one day perhaps to develop consciousness. I don't know the answer. but I think it's the most important question of all. There is this huge confusion in the AI community and in the world at large between consciousness and intelligence, which is behind many of the dangers that we now witness in the world. To put it very briefly, intelligence is the ability to pursue goals and overcome problems on the way to the goal. Like you play chess, you have a goal to take the opponent's king, and you have all kinds of obstacles on the way because the opponent is doing all kinds of things. And intelligence is what enables you to focus on the goal and overcome the problems on the way. Or if you're driving a car, so you have a goal to reach, say, the train station, and you have to navigate there, dealing with all kinds of issues, traffic lights, pedestrians, other cars. This is intelligence. And this is something that, as we all know, AI is now able to do better than us. It defeats us in chess. It will soon drive better than us. It has superior intelligence. But consciousness is something else. Consciousness, it's the ability to feel things like pain and pleasure and love and hate. Ultimately, I think my definition of consciousness is simply the capacity to suffer. A conscious entity, a sentient entity, is an entity that has a capacity to suffer and also, of course, to be liberated from suffering. Now, the interesting thing about the capacity to suffer, because then you can ask, so what is suffering? And the best definition I've found in both science and meditation for what is suffering is the rejection of reality. Like if you think about, say, a thermostat measuring the temperature in the room and maybe connected to an air conditioning unit. So a thermostat measures that the room is now, say, 30 degrees, and then starts the air conditioning unit to cool it down. So it made a decision, it has a goal, it has some level of intelligence, the thermostat. But it has no consciousness, it doesn't suffer. Even if you throw a thermostat into a cauldron of boiling water at 100 degrees, if it's a good thermostat, it will not break, it will measure 100 degrees. That's it. It will not suffer because it doesn't reject the reality. Suffering is something very, very strange, that the only thing in the universe that is capable of experiencing, as far as we know, is consciousness, is conscious being, that you experience something, and even though it's the reality of the present moment, you somehow nevertheless reject it. Like you experience it's hot, and you don't say, oh, I wish it will be cooler tomorrow or in a minute, but I want it now not to be hot. And this is illogical. I mean, it's now hot. You just measured that it's hot. So how is it possible for it not to be hot right now? You can take all kinds of actions so it will be less hot later on. But right now it's hot. There is nothing you can do about it. So, but the suffering part is not that it's hot, is that I reject it. I don't like it. And this is also the difference between pain and suffering. Pain is just a sensation. You can feel pain and not suffer. The suffering comes when there is pain, and I refuse to accept it, that there is pain. And what is it in the universe that can reject reality? What kind of thing can reject reality? And this is, again, a big question about AIs also. Are they able to reject reality and to suffer? Now, another related question is about truth and the pursuit of truth. A lot of people, especially in Silicon Valley, they hope that AI will reveal the truth about the world. They think that because it is highly intelligent, it will pursue the truth. They create a link which I think is a mistake between intelligence and truth. Maybe they make the mistake because they themselves are highly intelligent people, so they overvalue and overemphasize intelligence. But I don't think that intelligence is linked to truth. Human beings are the most intelligent entities on the planet as far as we know, and they're also the most delusional entities on the planet. So if AI is super intelligent, it could also be super delusional. Why think that an intelligent entity will pursue truth and not say power? If AI learns from the people who develop it, from the tycoons of Silicon Valley, then, children learn from how their parents behave, not from what their parents say. If the AI observes the tycoons of Silicon Valley, it will not pursue truth. It will pursue power. Now, what is it in the universe that really has a very deep, ingrained, passionate urge for the truth? I would say it's consciousness, not intelligence. Why? Because, again, suffering is the rejection of reality. Truth is the recognition of reality. Conscious entities, they don't always do so, of course. This is why we need all the practice. But conscious entities, because they have the capacity to suffer when they reject reality, they also have this deep urge to know the truth, because this liberates them from suffering. Hmm. And this tension between intelligence and consciousness, I think it's the most important issue with regard to the AI revolution.